Hi, welcome to Test Roll. I'm Martin.
I'm Lars.
And we're here again to look at a different camera today. This one is something a lot older than what we normally have been looking at. Let me get it out here, see if you can tell me what that looks like to you.
That looks like an old camera.
Ah, yes. I'm going to open up this little drawer, and it's a folding camera.
Ooh.
This is the 1A Autographic Kodak Jr. It took film size 1/16, and you may kind of wonder what autographic is. Back in the day, Kodak had run across this process whereby roll film had a special backing, and it was a pressure-sensitive tissue. I think that's how that worked. And you would write your information in this little slit here on the back of the paper, and then you would expose it to light for like about a minute, and that would cook in the writing that you've got on the back there, and it would actually give you a photo imprint of your identifying.
So you have to write in all the GPS
pretty
data.
much all the GPS information, and it was in the area right between the frame lines of the
I think I've seen photographs with that writing. Just really old.
Oh yeah.
Kind of snapshots with a little writing in it.
I think they got the idea from photographers using that on their plates. They would also write that in pencil on their plates to identify what is what. This was a system that only worked back when film was not sensitive to all colors. Panchromatic film was sensitive to all colors, even though it was black and white. It couldn't do it this way because you would just fog the film. That part we're really not that interested in anymore, because unless you're going to go make it from scratch, it's not going to happen. Now this film itself is, let me open this part up here for you. This film itself is actually...
That does not look like it's made anymore.
It is not, in fact. It is actually 70 millimeters wide. And then this backing paper is 72 millimeters to cover up to the flange of that. This is a roll, previously exposed roll. Sometimes you'll find cameras with old film in them. And this is one. This is old stuff. So we're going to actually, so that this doesn't come apart, I'm going to just do that. And they gave you a little bit of gummed label material there to keep it sealed. The inside of the camera, here's your bellows. These are not the original bellows. These are factory replacement bellows that I got from a fellow that had a supply of them.
So you replaced the bellows yourself?
I replaced these bellows myself. It was online. Believe me, there's weird stuff online. And, I think it costs like $35 or something. We'll see how it ends up looking, because this will be like the trial run of this camera. Now, obviously, this film isn't made anymore. I think the last time they made this film was in the 1980s. But they do have adapter kits where you can take a roll of 120 film with slightly slimmer, and with a couple of spacers, mount it here. So we'll try a roll of that in there too with some modern film. This is old stuff, so we'll see what that's like.
Oh, well, this camera seems to be made of wood. At least the body looks like wood.
The body is wood. There's some tin piece. This is probably aluminum.
Oh, okay.
The back is aluminum.
Now, are these easy to find?
They're relatively. They made them by the thousands. They're out there. You can buy these in different conditions.
Yeah, that's the key. It's like, are they easy to find in good condition?
In good condition. The bellows takes a beating.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, because people kept folding them up, unfolding them.
Yeah.
And you can only do that so many times before the camera says, I'm done. This one is light tight.
Okay.
The other one was definitely not.
Now, what about the lens here?
This is the rapid rectilinear.
Rapid rectilinear.
Yeah, easy for you to say.
If that's set to infinity, I'm guessing that, that's maybe 90 to 110 millimeters?
It could be something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been in inches.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, it's a Kodak-made lens.
It was actually
no, the shutter.
Bausch and Lomb. Oh, the Kodak shutter.
Yeah, okay.
Now, whether they made that in-house or had it made for them, it's hard to say. Well, they were buying up everybody,
Right.
so it was theirs.
Yeah.
Bausch and Lomb they did not own.
Okay.
And continue to not own. So Bausch and Lomb did make the optics. This is probably what, from 1925? And this is
So
what
almost 100 years.
this is what you would, just take out with you if you were going out for a day, in the country. And we're going to go out for a day in the city, so we'll see how that looks. I had special ordered some film that didn't come. So instead of getting that, I'm going to load it with this. We're shooting Kodak Verichrome pen 116. It expired in December 1973. It is now 2023, but it's probably like 51 or 52 years old. And I'm sure it's been kept in pristine condition all this time. And look at that. Snug as a bug in a rug. All right, so remove this band entirely. Load in subdued light. All right, we can do that. Pretty close. I don't know what the exact difference is. There must be some, but we're just gonna take this over here, and that's what blocks the light. That little extra millimeter on each side. Verichrome pan. And one. Two. But you see what I mean about bracing it. You've got a little bit more. Somebody did a real nice job on the All right, folks, we're back with the 1A Autographic Kodak Jr. Folding camera, and we've taken a vintage roll of film with it, and we have taken a 120 modern roll with the adapter, and we're just going to take a look at the results we got. And I'm really hoping that, the bellows is something close to light tight. I'm going to pull out, instead of the normal way that we look at it with the tablet, Lars went ahead and he made real prints. Look at that. This is a proof sheet of contact prints of the walkabout pictures we did. And the one thing that I'm just asking you to notice is the size of the contact prints. This was made in the era when enlarging photographs wasn't really done. If you wanted a picture that was this big, you got a camera that took a negative that was this big. It's a lovely and simple way of dealing with things like that. What I really like about that is that that's just a contact print. Anybody can develop it and then just do a contact print. And then you don't have to have an enlarger, you don't have to have anything else. Maybe I should have focused that one. This is a walkabout that we did at the Grand Central Air Terminal. This was the film that expired in 1973, and we did a stand development on this by Lars's suggestion. And the negatives did have like age fogging. The film is over 50 years old, and yes, you're going to get some fogging, but it's not bad. I noticed on the bottom here we're seeing a little bit of artifacting, and it looks like
Bromide drag?
yeah.
Stand development does risk bromide drag. I've never seen it in the stuff I've done.
It does sort of look like bromide drag, but not. Obviously, you'd see bromide drag really on motion picture film where it's by a sprocket hole. These look a little soft, so I would like to sometime check the focus. True, I replaced the bellows, and did I put everything back exactly where it was supposed to be? Maybe. I saved a couple of bucks, and who knows? I noticed that both of us had issues with remembering to wind the film.
I had a bit of a...
Do you have your tablet? We'll look at the stuff that was the 120.
What are we looking at?
All right, and let's see. As you may recall earlier, I mentioned that it is possible to buy 3D printed adapters that fit a new roll of 120 size film for your 116 camera. I found one I really liked that included a reducing mask with film gate. It's nice to be able to shoot with a nice new film like Ilford ep.4 Plus, but there are a couple of downsides. Now, one is that the numbers on the backing paper are for 120 cameras, and that's not going to help you correctly wind the film between images. So the adapter maker, he came up with a method of winding that would give you 8 shots per roll, and I wasn't able to make it work entirely. Next time, I'm just going to wind it twice between each shot and get just 6 pictures per roll, but at least I'll have like clearly defined frame lines.
Yeah.
The shot looking up the street shows the 1/50th speed of the shutter. Seems about right. While the left side is in focus, though, the right is quite soft. I suspect that some of this is due to the film not being flat in the gate.
Oh, okay.
All right, the oak tree is somewhat backlit here, but the old uncoated lens seems to handle it better than I really expected. And I seem to have missed focus on Grandma here. And this is the car dealer. Focus is way better here. I'm rather impressed by ep.4 Plus's ability to compress the very bright highlights and still keep some of the detail in the shadows. As a wrap-up, though, it's a fun camera to use. It does get people looking at you, I've got to say, because they're like, "What are you doing?" You know. And this is the classic, early 1900s camera configuration. This was the camera that put Middle America on, into photography by and large. Maybe some of them had the Kodak box camera, the Brownie, but this was kind of the step up. This gave you an adjustable lens, or an adjustable iris. It gave you multiple shutter speeds. It allowed you to do selective focus. It was scale focusing, by this little ratchet system. And they're fun to mess with, and I will probably look for more film to run through it. They do special orders once a year, or Ilford does, and maybe I'll be able to get my order in this year. I will see how that goes.
I find it's a little frustrating because, I can't do some of the things I'm familiar with. And it's a bit like, when I'm out shooting and somebody said, "Hey, can you take my picture with my camera?" And they hand me this like point and shoot. I am utterly lost. I don't know how to take a picture with a point and shoot. And with this, I mean, when I was shooting with it, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. All of a sudden, it's like all my knowledge of photography is useless.
Many camera manufacturers worked very hard to come up with ways that you could not get a double exposure. That was like the big...
And yet we foiled them.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But people got used to it and, would very often not end up with double exposures. However, photographically, if I really wanted to get any of those shots, I would probably be using a view camera or at the very least my speed graphic. This is kind of a fun thing, and I would probably still take it to a party maybe.
I think there's something really neat in exploring that and learning like, oh, okay, this is kind of how you had to take a picture if you were using this kind of camera back 100 years ago. And you've done a beautiful job on that. I mean, it looks nice.
All you have to do is find a new old stock bellows.
Yeah, well,
there are guys that make bellows. You can order them. They're kind of expensive, and it's totally doable. You can custom order these things. Is it worth it for a camera that you can get for about $50 or $60? The bellows costs like about $150. Maybe not.
yeah.
And, you have to balance it off. How much of a kick do you get out of the camera?
Yeah.
I don't buy cameras for investment. And neither should you. I mean, honestly, great if you can. But really, do it because it's fun. Because if it's not fun, you're going to take a bath more often than not, and fun is just better. Anyway, thanks for looking today, and we hope to see you again next time. I'm Martin.
I'm Lars.
And this has been Test Roll. See you next time.